Today I wanted to hop on here to talk to you and give you 3 tips for weighing yourself as you track your fat loss. So my first tip is don't. My first tip is don't weigh yourself to track fat loss. And remember, we are talking here about fat loss and not weight loss, because we want to make sure we are losing fat but maintaining that muscle. When you lose weight, there's all different sorts of things you could be losing that make you weigh less. We want to focus on losing the fat and maintaining the muscle. So when you are in a fat loss period and you want to track how much fat you've lost or how much progress you're making on this journey, my first tip for weighing yourself is don't weigh yourself at all. The number on the scale can change daily based on a myriad of different factors that do not include weight loss or do not include fat loss. So the scale could be up or down any time of the day, any day of the month, based on a factor other than fat loss. So this number that you see on the scale on a daily basis, it may not be indicative of your actual fat loss. So getting on the scale and seeing a number you weren't expecting or a number you don't like, it could cause more emotional and mental distress than it's worth, because it's not an accurate reflection of your fat loss progress. So what can you do instead of weighing yourself in order to track your progress? You can take progress pictures. It's something that I highly recommend doing. Take them once when you start. Take them maybe once a month or once every 6 to 8 weeks. You can also check on how your clothes are feeling. So try on some clothes that used to be a little bit tight and see how they feel now. And just pay attention to how your clothes are feeling. You can also pay attention to things like your energy level and your sleep, how you're sleeping at night, your cravings. Want me to take her?
Yeah, she won't stop coming.
Okay, she doesn't hate you. Okay, so those are some different ways to measure your progress in fat loss other than the scale. Progress pictures, how your clothes fit, your energy, your cravings, your sleep quality, etc. So tip number 2, if you are going to weigh yourself, weighing yourself, it is data. It's factual information about how much your body weighs at that point in time. So there is a place for weighing yourself. If you are going to weigh yourself, make sure you weigh yourself at the same time of the month each month. Make sure you're weighing yourself at around the same day in your monthly cycle. So a great time to weigh yourself would be the week after your period. So maybe 3 days after you stop your period. 3 days after your period stops, weigh yourself. Then wait till the next month at that same time to weigh yourself again. Because like I said in point number 1, the number on the scale can go up and down based on a lot of things, including where you are at in your hormonal cycle, how much water you're holding on to, etc. So if you are weighing yourself, make sure you weigh yourself at the same time of the month. That way you're getting an accurate comparison, because you don't want to compare yourself the week before your period one month and then the week after your period the next month, and then going back and forth. That's not going to give you an accurate comparison. And also, if you are carb cycling like I do, make sure that you're weighing yourself on the same day of your carb cycle. So either a low carb or a high carb day, but be consistent with that so that you're not weighing yourself on a low carb day one month and then the next month on a high carb day, because that's going to adjust the number on the scale as well based on how much water weight you're holding on to. So that's the second tip. The first tip is don't weigh yourself as you track fat loss, and find a different way to measure. The second tip is to make sure you are weighing yourself at the same time of the month and the same time of the day as well. Maybe right in the morning after you get up and use the bathroom, but you don't want to weigh yourself in the morning one time and then in the afternoon after dinner another time. It's not gonna be an accurate comparison. The third tip is to be sure that when you do weigh yourself, if you are weighing yourself, that you are able to use that just as data and just as information and not a reflection of your self-worth or how you feel about yourself or your mood for the day. Don't let the number on the scale dictate how the rest of your day goes. So if you look down and you see a number that is higher than you expected, if you get a negative emotional reaction from that, if you feel disappointed in yourself, if you feel hard on yourself, if you think, well, I just need to tighten up on my diet more, I just need to diet harder, I need to exercise more this week, I need to make up for it. If you're having those sort of thought processes, if you're having that emotional reaction to a higher number, then I would like for you to go back to tip number 1 and don't weigh yourself right now until you kind of work on the emotional aspect of it. On the other side of the coin, if you weigh yourself and the number is lower than you thought and you get kind of an excited, happy emotional reaction from that, kind of the same thing, because you're still getting, you're feeling good about yourself because of the number on the scale, or you're feeling proud of yourself because of the number on the scale. And you know, I want you to feel proud of yourself because you set a goal and you're working every day and being consistent towards that goal, not just because of what the scale says. Dada. Does that look like Dada? That did look like Dada. So if you do get an emotional reaction from being on this scale, I would urge you to take a break from weighing yourself. Maybe go back to it in a couple months, but go back to tip number 1, which is to focus on progress pictures, how your clothes fit, how your energy is, how your sleep is for measuring progress rather than the scale. Because if you are going to weigh yourself, I want you to make sure that you're in the mental headspace where you can look at the number on the scale and see it only as information and data to record and not get an emotional reaction from it. Is this boring? Am I boring you? Can you say bye-bye? So that is my 3 tips for weighing yourself to track your fat loss. Tip number 1 is don't weigh yourself, because the number on the scale can be affected by a myriad of different factors other than fat loss. Tip number 2 is if you decide that you want to weigh yourself, make sure you do it at the same time of the month. The week after your period would be great, and the same time of the day every time. That way it is an accurate comparison. And then the 3rd tip is if you are going to weigh yourself, make sure that you are mentally able to see the number on the scale simply as information and data and not as a judgment about you as a person, and that you're not getting an emotional reaction, either positive or negative, based on what number is on the scale. Those are my 3 tips. If you would like to start your journey towards health and fitness, I have a round of my program, The Faster Way to Fat Loss, that I run starting on next Monday, June 1st, and I'd love to have you. Registration is still open, and I would like to have you join me and the other ladies that have already decided to take the leap. So just, you can click on the link that'll be in the comments if you want to register for The Faster Way to Fat Loss, or you can send me a DM, and I'd love to work with you and help you on your journey. All right, we're gonna sign off now. Becca, can you say bye? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, turn this off.